and we've measured out to about 46 billion light years with radio telescopes, are traveling away from us so fast that they're moving away fast, the light's coming at us, but since the light is leaving something that's going away from us, the light shifts frequencies because it's coming at us slower than the 186,000 miles per second, because it's like shooting a bullet out of a plane that's going in the opposite direction. So that's how they figured out that the universe is expanding.
Because if you were in a plane, 50,000 feet or however much, and you shot a bullet down the Earth, you have, does the bullet go any faster than
No.
what I would drop a rock? It's the same velocity, right?
Well, it will initially go faster, but it slows to terminal velocity.
I guess depending on how far away you are from the ground would depend on if it would actually
Correct.
go faster.
If you're, in a reasonable amount, because I don't know if you're familiar with what was originally called Puff the Magic Dragon.
Oh, yeah.
Then they replaced it, not the cartoon.
Oh.
Then they replaced it with Spooky, and then they replaced Spooky with Spectre. It started out, it was a DC-3, that's what Puff was, and they mounted mini guns facing down. 1 second of firing from Puff, you could lay out on a football field the shell casings from 1 second of firing, and no shell casing would be further away than 6 inches from any other shell casing on an entire football field. 1 second of firing. It was something they had, I think it was 8 or 10 mini guns firing at 6,000 rounds per minute, which is 100 rounds per second. And they had like 10 of those. So you're talking 10,000 rounds per second were firing down. They replaced that with Spectre, which was I forget, now it's a C-47 that has cannons and as well as the mini guns. You can look them up online. And when they shoot down, yes, they kill you very easily. But they're not up 50,000 feet. I was just watching a thing. There was a man who parachuted from the edge of space. He went up to over 80,000 feet. And they took him up in a balloon. It was a balloon that went up. And by the time the balloon got up there, the balloon had expanded larger than a football stadium because there's so little air pressure. He was in an astronaut suit with a parachute. And when it got up there, his capsule opened and he jumped out of the capsule and came down 80,000 feet from the edge of space. Actually, it was over 90,000 feet from the edge of space. And he never reached the velocity that killed him. He just reached terminal velocity and stopped accelerating.
I gotta go. All right.
That must have been a long drop.
It was.
It's you go.
Yeah.
80,000.
It was over 90.
Yeah. How about the balloon?
That just, it was like one of those weather balloons, only a lot bigger. It came down when the helium.
Did it burst from the?
No. Anyway, the first thing I've got is, obviously I covered a lot of stuff this morning. Does anybody have any questions about what we were dealing with the day of the Lord?
Some of your trees, peace treaty won't be signed until after the end.
Yeah, according to 2 Thessalonians 2, 6, and 7, the Antichrist cannot be revealed until after the Holy Spirit is taken out of the way.
I also want to ask, why is it that the Jews are not allowed on the temple?
Because it's administered by the Arabs, and the Arabs will not allow any Jews to go near it. They want to utterly suppress the Jewish religion. And they want the Jews to have no ability to practice their religion at all.
The temple site in Jerusalem though?
Yep,
How the Arabs have control over it?
because they control the only place in Israel proper, other than the West Bank or Gaza, that they control is the Temple Mount.
So the
Right.
one thing they control is the one thing that the Jews need.
Yeah,
Surprised they didn't throw them out of there too.
well, it was a political thing that they thought that that would create a kind of jihad that they would have had even more war than they've had. That would have caused an unceasing total war.
Got it.
Because can you be a Muslim and practice your faith in Israel?
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I was reading an article about a colonel, which is a fairly high rank in Israel. They don't have the size military we have, where you've got so many generals and, you know. So a colonel is a pretty high person in the Israeli Defense Force, who was a confirmed Muslim, Arab Muslim. There are, I think, 6, something around that number, Arabs who are members of the Knesset, hold the highest elected office in the land. They are part of Israel has a proportional government. What kind of government do we have?
Constitutional.
But what is our election?
Democratic.
It's not democratic, but it is a winner take all election. Whoever gets the most votes, and there's a few places it has to be over 50%, but whoever gets the most votes wins, period. If I get one more vote than Paul, I'm in, he's out. But in Israel, they have what's called a parliamentary government. And that means each party runs and the parties get seats proportional to their votes. So if I get 43% of the vote, I have 43% of the seats in the Knesset. Paul gets 26% of the votes. He has 26% of the seats. Mike has 13% of the votes. He gets 13. And then you guys over there get 1 or 2% each. You might only have 1 seat in the Knesset, but guess what? I have 43%. Can I form the government?
No.
No.
Have a coalition against you.
He had 26 and he had 13, that's 39. Can they form a government? Just the 2 of them.
No.
So now what I have to do and what they have to do is they have to court each of you to try to give either them or me your 1 or 2 seats. So that gives tremendous power to these little parties, because they can form a 1 or 2 item agenda. So there's the Hasidic party. They never get a huge amount. They'll get 5 or 6 seats. Guess what their agenda is?
Religion.
Keeping all the kosher laws. So having the Sabbath being kept, having the elevators on Shabbat setting, having all the laws about driving so that there's people that can be taken places on the Sabbath. All the kosher food, if you go to a restaurant or a hotel in Israel, it's an American hotel, but guess what? When you have breakfast, what won't there be?
Eggs.
Ham,
Oh.
Me.
sausage, bacon. But also, what else won't there be? There won't be any beef. Why?
Oh, the milk thing.
Because breakfast is always a milk meal. They have milk there and they won't have any beef when they have milk. The the ultra Orthodox party, that's their agenda. So if they're gonna go to you, Paul and Mike, and go, okay, what are you gonna give us about that if we give you our 6 votes? And I go, well, I'll give you all that, plus I'll let you do this if you give me your 6, and they can play us off against each other. So that 6 or 7 votes that the Muslim community has in the Knesset, they can't take over the Knesset, but they can wield a lot of power by bringing a government up or causing it to collapse. And a lot of times, the way Israel has been divided up until October 7th, a lot of times coalitions were winning the Knesset by 1 or 2 votes, literally. So you couldn't afford to lose anybody in your coalition. Is there a single place where you can practice the Jewish faith anywhere in the Muslim world? Are there mosques in Israel? Not just in the West Bank and Gaza Strip. Are there mosques in Israel proper?
Yes.
Yep. Is there a single synagogue anywhere in the Muslim world? Not one.
You're saying Muslims have much more rights than Jews around the world, especially the Arab.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So when you go to Israel, when you go to Jerusalem, don't they have sections like they're segregated?
Mm-hmm.
Like where one section's Muslim, one is Jewish, one is
Yeah.
Christian?
Yeah.
I think we watched a video one time
Yeah.
about that.
Yep. And they have the Muslim quarter, they have the Jewish quarter, and they have the Christian quarter. Yep.
So do they prefer that no one goes into each other's?
Well, it's not quite that bad, but it as an American tourist, you can go to all of them. Why?
Because you're a visitor. You're a guest.
Nope. Especially the Muslims could care less that you're a guest. You're an infidel and they could care less about you. But, and there's a big but that goes with that.
Oh, your money.
I got the money. I got-
What does everybody in Israel want?
Money, more money.
American money. American money. And so they generally tend to not hassle tourists because that's the bread and butter of their things. When you hear about buses being bombed, is it ever tour buses? No.
No.
It's transit.
It's Israeli transit buses where the local people are, or it is, and you don't hear very many of those anymore, that you did 50 years ago.
School buses.
School buses. Why do they not have a problem with school buses? Nope. Because there's a person with an automatic rifle riding on every school bus. And that tends to discourage people from becoming a little aggressive if there's 1 or 2 people with submachine guns with automatic rifles riding on the bus. There's soldiers on all the buses and in all the schools. So they don't have a lot of school shootings because they shoot first and question any survivors.
Shoot first, ask questions later.
Yeah, we will question every suspect who survives. And again, that's, you see what the Muslims did, but in the Muslim world, it is entirely different. Even with Christians, yeah. There was a Christian Arab family who was living in, was it Iraq? And they had a 16-year-old daughter who had professed Christ, and there was a 50-something-year-old neighbor who looked at her and goes, yep, I want her. And she said, no, I'm a Christian. And he walked into the school, told the school he was taking her. The school turned her over to him. He walked out of the school with her, took her to his house, married her, and she became his wife with no rights whatsoever to leave the house, talk to anyone. She simply disappeared. When she didn't come home from school, the parents went to the school wouldn't even tell her tell the parents where she went,
Wow.
who took her. That's how Muslims treat non-Muslims.
Just out
Because
of curiosity, if they wouldn't tell the parents who took her, how was the story relayed?
they finally tracked her down through hiring people to track her down, and they went to confront the man, and he's like, don't ever bother me again or I'll have you arrested. And the cops came and told them, leave him alone or we'll put you in prison and you'll never be seen again.
Oh,
She's his now. And boom, that was that.
Peaceful religion of Islam.
The peaceful religion of Islam.
No, it's really not a religion if you think about it. It's more of a governing.
Well, it is the combination of all of that. It's a theocracy. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and they said, well, why couldn't, the Soviets couldn't pacify Afghanistan? That's true, right? The Soviets went in, they spent a lot of lives and a lot of material, and the Afghanis drove them out of Afghanistan. Before the Soviets went in, who went in before them? The British. What happened to the British? The Afghanis threw them out on their tail too. After the Soviets, who went in? Us. What happened to us in Afghanistan?
Biden took it.
Well, it wasn't just Biden. Was Trump going to take us? We were going out before Biden.
That's true.
Biden just botched the withdrawal. But were we going to withdraw?
Yes.
We went in under Bush and all of Bush's 2 terms, all of Obama's 2 terms, Trump's first term, and then into Biden's term. So that's 2, 4, 5. We were there 6 times 4. We were there over 20 years. Did we make any difference in that nation?
No.
And the person said, well, we just didn't try hard enough. If we'd have done what was done to Germany at the end of World War II, we could have done it. Why did we succeed in getting rid of Nazism in Germany? And we can't in Afghanistan or anywhere else in the Muslim.
because a lot of people saw that as wrong.
How long had people been Nazis in Germany?
10 years.
A little more than that, but yeah. Late 20s through the 45. So under 20 years, 15 years, let's say, they've been. Was Nazism the historic belief of the German people?
No.
So was it easy to get them to reject this new thing that had taken them over and destroyed their nation and go back to what they were before Nazism?
Sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How about Islam?
They were.
Is there any place on earth where Islam hasn't been there, just, in the Arab world at least, where Islam hasn't been there for the last 1,500 years? Is there any Arab nation where Islam was not the predominant force for all of living memory? Grandparents' memory, great-grandparents' memory, that's all they've known. How hard is it to get people out of that? It's ingrained. Can God save people out of Islam?
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah. But is that ever a large group of the people? Mm-mm. So that's what we face there. And again, the media tries to hide all of that, and they talk about the oppression. They talk about how Israel drove the Arabs out of Israel when they went in 1948. How many Arabs or Muslims did Israel drive out of the nation?
I think they did.
Not a one. Not one. Why did all those Palestinians leave Israel and go to these refugee camps? See, they don't teach us this stuff. And the news media never tells us that. They went because the Arabs said, flee. We're going to wipe out every Jew, kill every one of them, and in a few weeks, you'll be able to go back and take anything you want from your neighbor's property. You'll have whatever houses you want, you can have it all because we're going to kill every Jew. Didn't work out that way. But that's why the Arabs left. On the other hand, after the 1948 war, what happened in every single Arab nation on earth?
Jews left.
No. The Jews were forcefully deported without being able to take any of their property. All of their property was confiscated and they were thrown out as beggars. And anyone who wouldn't leave was killed.
After 48?
During 48, yeah, yep. Gone. And that's why there's no Jews living anywhere in the Arab world today. The only exception to that was kind of Lebanon. It just took longer, but they eventually did that in Lebanon when the Hamas took over Lebanon. So, yeah. And again, what's that go back to? Where was that predicted in the Bible?
Ezekiel?
Nope,
Is it the one with the fig tree?
nope,
It's the Old Testament, though.
yep.
Yeah. The question is, where does it say?
Where does it talk about all that happening with Israel?
So I tell you,
That's John's first few blessing and curse.
No,
Is it the statue?
we looked at the verse today.
Oh.
I know.
We've looked at it 1,000 times.
Was it? Yeah.
Daniel 9,
I just took a shot of
27.
26.
I said Daniel.
And wars and desolations are determined unto the end. No matter where the Jews, why is it that the Jews are fighting to have Israel? Because it's the only place that many of them feel safe. Because every other place they've gone. What was the Jewish profession in the world? Still is today, but
Money
less so. No, more so even than that. That was just in Europe. Because Christians weren't allowed to charge usury till that was all done away with. And then that quickly reverted to Christians, quote unquote,
What's the number one Jewish profession?
worldwide, which is dominated by the Jews.
Diamond?
Diamonds. Not diamond mining. Where are diamonds mined?
Where there's
South
volcanoes?
Africa.
Oh.
But what aspect of diamonds is totally dominated by the Jewish people?
Artificial
Selling them.
diamonds?
The trading them, marketing them. If you want to buy a diamond, if you want to quit working for medical things and you want to go to work for Zales, as a purchaser to go worldwide and buy diamonds, where are you going to be spending a lot of your time? In Israel. The other aspect of diamonds, the Jews are the best in the world at what?
Produce?
I've watched them do it. You can, part of the tours that I've taken in Israel, you go in and watch them do it.
shepherding.
Yep,
Uh,
cutting the diamonds. They are the best diamond cutters in the world, the most prolific diamond cutters in the world. Why is that? Why are Jews known for the diamond trade?
They've been doing
Why?
The Egyptians.
Nope,
All they were allowed to do.
nope. Before the advent of paper money, what were the three things that you had that were wealth?
Oh, salt.
Gold,
That's all
well,
unnecessary.
yeah, but I'm talking wealth,
Silver.
but precious metals. The biggest one was, what made you rich? You were a rich person if you had what?
Land.
Land. And of course, with the land comes livestock and the stuff that goes on the land. But what made your wealth was the land. Because you had land, you could have livestock. You could have crops. You could provide things that everybody wanted to buy. And the third one, for I'm talking huge amounts of money, gold, silver,
Does it tie in with the land?
land. What's the third
Does
one?
it tie in with the land? The third
Nope,
Diamonds.
gems. If you wanted huge amounts of, if you had huge amounts of money, it was either you had lots of land, you had gold, silver, precious metals, or you had gems. What's the problem with land as a Jew?
Lose it.
you can only work 7
There's only
hours
so
a
much
day.
land.
No, no.
You get kicked off the land.
Every nation the Jews have ever tried to live in, what's happened to them?
Thrown out.
They get thrown out. If my wealth is in land and I get thrown out, guess what?
You're poor.
Somebody,
Can I pack up my farm and carry it with me?
no, somebody else gets it.
What's gonna happen to my land? I've got a 10,000 acre thing with cattle and everything. What's gonna happen to that?
Whoever kicked you out.
The government that kicked me out is gonna
And
confiscate that, and they're gonna turn me out as a beggar. What's the second one?
Metals.
Metals. What's the problem with metals?
Heavy.
Steal it.
It's heavy. It takes a lot of weight.
When they kick me out, guess what happens?
Take it.
I've got to do what?
Here, here. Oh, yeah.
Run.
Do they go, you've got, 90 days to get out of here? What usually happens when I get kicked out as a Jew?
You got like minutes.
I hear that they're shooting people in the village down the street and they're coming here next. And I better get out of Dodge before they get here or I'm a dead person. Now, if I've got a whole bunch of gold and my money, I've got a lot of wealth and it's in gold, guess what?
We're gonna leave without it.
I ain't carrying too much of it with me, am I? And when I go to get out, they'll probably have people at the border who will go, oh, Jew, you're leaving? Well, we can't have you taking all that money. You've robbed it from us, you filthy Jew. You have to pay your leaving tax, your deportation tax, 97% of everything you've got. Oh, and we'll take the other 3% as a tip for helping you count it.
Services.
Hmm,
You can live with your life.
Yep,
I mean, it
Maybe.
seems like a lot of this, because they were so successful in there.
exactly right.
Then it led into our generational, like the modern, like with the Nazis, they got jealous that they were doing so well. So they drove them out.
Not just jealousy, but I think it's demonic.
Oh, of course, and it's satanically inspired.
Yes.
But now, if I have it in gems, what can I do?
Stick it in your pocket.
Big jewelry.
I can sew it into a pocket in my coat. I've got a nice thick heavy coat and I sew it inside the lining. How easy is it going to be to find those gems? in my
It's
coat.
gonna be hard.
I can carry a bottle of water with me. Guess what?
It's not ice.
Just dump them in there and you can't even see them in the water. They're clear. Oh, yep, just water. So that became the go-to because when I had to get out of Dodge, which always happened, I could take my wealth with me.
Probably could almost drink them
Yeah,
and then pass them.
and
Oh,
yeah.
that sounds pleasant.
Oh, yeah, your insides maybe, but yep. So, hey, compared to the, how did people used to? Now they just walk across the border. They did for the last 4 years, but how did they get drugs into the United States?
So that
They would take balloons, fill them up with heroin or other drugs and swallow the balloons. And what would often happen?
They would puncture.
Yeah, a balloon would pop and now you've got, ounces of heroin. Guess what happens if that balloon pops?
You die.
You're dead instantly. Overdose. So it's not just diamonds that people would do things like that. People have been desperate to do stuff for a long time. But again, that comes back to Satan's hatred. Look at Revelation. Chapter 12. I'm sorry.
We've been watching the show 24, and some of the spies or bad guys, we'll say, have been putting like secret whatever in their arms so that nobody will find it. That's what they're talking about.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
cartel would come and grab them and cut them open to get the balloons out.
Yeah, yep. Mm-hmm.
I can't-
She looks away.
That Revelation 12.
Yeah, Revelation 12. Verses 1-6. You've got some characters there. I had somebody who used to go to this church who said this was about astrology. It is not. It is clearly, what is this about? Who are the characters who are in this story? Revelation 12, 1-6. You've got 3 characters. Who are they?
Parent of Israel.
Women
Oh,
pregnant.
But who are they in the story?
woman,
The woman,
the dragon,
the child, and the dragon. Who is the dragon?
Satan.
How do we know that?
It says it.
Verse 9. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil or Satan. We know who the dragon is. That's Satan. Who is the woman?
Israel.
Israel.
Joseph's dream.
Joseph's dream. What was Joseph's dream?
The sun, the moon, the stars, without
The sun and the moon and 10 stars would bow down to him. And who were the sun, the moon, and the 10 stars?
Brothers.
Mom and dad.
His parents and his 10 brothers. And who does his parents and the 10 brothers represent?
The tribes of Israel.
The 12 tribes of Israel. So that the woman is Israel. Who then is the child?
Christ.
Jesus. And what 2 things does that refer to? Verse 2. He was born out of Israel. But notice verse 4. The end of verse 4. What does it say?
Satan wants to kill her child.
That Satan stood in front of her, waiting for her to give birth so that he could
Devour the child.
devour the child. What is that referencing?
Is that Herod?
Not the crucifixion.
Because it's before, it's
Herod
Herod
tried to kill
the
him at his
child.
birth. So we have Herod doing that. So what does that tell us about? We know from history who tried to kill Jesus.
Satan. Oh, Herod.
Herod. Herod was the one that But what does this tell us was the real person who was trying to kill Jesus?
Say
Satan. So Herod was merely a
pawn.
pawn or tool of Satan to accomplish this. So notice what it says, the end of verse 5. What's the end of verse 5 tell us? So what's that referencing?
Resurrection.
Oh, when the angels came
Um,
to the Mary and Joseph and told them to take.
No,
Oh,
Not the resurrection.
not the resurrection.
It's like,
The ascension. He was snatched up to heaven. The resurrection wasn't he was snatched up to heaven. That's the ascension.
It says he went on.
Yep. Yep. And what happened? After that, verse 6.
the woman fled.
So what has been happening with Israel, and it's going to happen in a greater, again, this is a picture of what's going to happen during the tribulation period. What has been the history of Israel?
Is that to
They've
take
been
the diaspora?
That Satan has been trying to do what? Kill Israel. So Hitler was not just a random occurrence. The Soviet programs were not a random occurrence. The Spanish Inquisition were not a random occurrence. The British exile was not a random occurrence. All of these are part of this pattern that Satan has continually tried to destroy Israel. Why?
He wins if he destroys Israel.
Why?
God said he's going to redeem Israel.
Why does Satan have to destroy Israel?
So God's plans.
In what regard?
Destroy Israel.
Are you talking about the 144,000?
If Satan was able to kill off the Israelites, guess what there will never be? 144,000. So therefore, will God have a witness during the tribulation period?
You would
No.
hope the two witnesses, and then if they die, then nobody.
Nobody. So could Satan win during the tribulation period and get the whole world to come over to him? Hypothetically, well, in his mind, there's a path to victory. And so he has perpetually tried to destroy Israel.
Is there any mention, I realize, there's a sayings that the Old Testament is the New Testament concealed and the New Testament is the Old Testament revealed. But is there anything that we see, maybe it would be in Daniel, that tells about, it might not say the 144,000, but is there anything saying that the Jewish people would be, that they would be the evangelists, they would be the ones?
Well, the only thing that you have in Daniel is the fact that there is this period, verse 26, which is not part of Israel's history, where God is not working with Israel. And remember, this is vitally important. How is it that a person comes to God today?
By God's people, or what's
By the church. As soon as the people were saved in Acts 2, what happened? They joined the number and were brought under the apostles' teaching and blah, blah, blah. What's the only way that you can progress in the faith?
Church,
Oh, excuse me.
faith cometh by hearing, so that progresses you.
Ephesians 4:12. What's Ephesians 4:12 say?
Just
To equip his people for works of service, so that the body of Christ can be built up.
How is the only way that you will be built up as a believer? Go back
The
up,
body
go back up.
that Christ gave the apostles, the prophets.
Oh.
and the pastors.
So what's the only way you're ever going to progress in the Christian faith? To be under the ministry of the prophets, evangelists, pastors, and teachers. In other words, part of the church. And if you are outside of the church, and in fact, if you look at, I'm going to have to look this one up. If you look at 1 Corinthians 6, I'm sorry, 1 Corinthians 5, verses 2, 5, verses 3 to 5. What's that say? There's a man who's practicing flagrant, despicable immorality. Something that is beyond normal immorality. What's Paul say? 1 Corinthians 5, 3 to 5.
And this man over to Satan for the destruction of the flesh, so that his spirit may be saved on the day of.
So what happens when they throw this man out of the church?
It's handed over to Satan.
So in other words, when you're in the church, you have protection against Satan. When you are thrown out of the church, you lose that protection. Isn't that what that's saying? So again, the church is God's representative. That's what it means. You know, when Jesus said, not just to Peter, but to all the apostles, I give you, what did he say he gave them? What, Yeah. The keys to the kingdom. And then he defines what that means. What is that?
What
What-
you let loose on earth will be let loose in heaven, and what you secure in earth will be bind on earth will be bound in heaven.
Who does he give that power to?
Apostles. The church.
To the church. The church is the one who binds or looses the kingdom. And when the church isn't being the church, the kingdom's bound up. And when the church is being the church, the kingdom is loosed upon the people. But again, what is the conduit of taking the kingdom from God and bringing it to people?
Church.
The church. And that's why Jesus says, upon this rock I will build my church. And the gates of hell won't overcome it. Now, that's very interesting because we picture Satan as being on the offensive. But notice what that says. How do you know that?
Because you don't use a fence as a weapon.
You don't use a gate as a weapon. What is it? It's a barrier to keep people out. So what he's saying is, Satan, from birth, what is his status? He has the whole world locked up in sin from the moment we are born, what are we?
Prisoners.
Slaves to sin and to Satan. And he has us bound up in this fortress. And the church's job is to do what?
Break us out.
Break down the gate and go in and rescue people out of that. Who's the only person that can release those prisoners?
Jesus.
Church.
The church. And the gates of hell will not prevail against, Jesus doesn't say me, he says against you.
We get that power.
Absolutely. And through using the word of God and the armor of God. But the point is that God doesn't work without a medium. God just doesn't go from heaven and zap it into people's heads. What does it say?
Church.
God, who in various times, in diverse places, what am I quoting?
Hebrews.
Hebrews
Yeah.
1:1.
That the wind.
Spoke in times past
Oh, no.
by the prophets. How did God speak, quote unquote, in times past? When he says in times past, what's he referring to?
Old Testament.
Old Testament. How did God speak in the Old Testament?
Through the prophets,
Prophets, visions,
dreams.
dreams,
Animal.
donkeys,
Fire.
A bush.
a burning bush. So that's why he says in various ways. But he has spoken in these last days what?
Church.
By the Son. How did the Son speak to us?
Well, then he actually talked to people, and then
But not when he writes Hebrews, that he writes Hebrews in the 60s AD, 30 years after Jesus is dead, 35 years.
Through the prophet. There was
Bible.
word.
right, the word.
And how did the word come?
Spirit. By the church.
Through the church. Who wrote the Bible?
Jesus.
The apostles. Who did they write the Bible to?
To the church.
To the church at Rome, to the church at Galatia, to the church at Colossae. Peter, to the strangers who are traveling throughout they wrote it to the church.
When they were writing it, they were the church.
Yeah. So again, the medium that God uses, but when we have that, when the last Gentile is saved, when the age of the Gentile ends, what happens?
It's the end of the church.
Church is gone. Now what's the medium?
Israel.
Israel. It goes back to Israel.
That's why Satan wants to get rid of Israel, then there won't be any to give the gospel.
Exactly right. That makes sense?
Honest.
God bless. Have a great week.
Amen.
I'm around all week now. I'm not going back up to mom's.
Praise the Lord.
When do you guys start?
November 5th.
What?
When do you
What?
guys start?
No, the state
Tuesday.
teacher convention.
Tuesday?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
But
Staff came.
I think I don't know how